Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new director's virtual dialogues with the youth jury of the 23rd Vancouver Latin American Film Festival. We acknowledge that this festival takes place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, including the homelands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. We pay our respects to past, present, and future generations of these beautiful lands where we get to share our stories. The new director's virtual dialogues are presented by Peliplat, the online community for film and TV lovers. You can find the full BLAB 2025 program in their catalog and rate and review your favorite films. My name is Ana Tonso. I'm the youth jury coordinator here today with director Lamia Chraibi and the youth jury, a cohort of 20 local youth that get to watch, discuss each film with the directors behind the projects, and finally award the Youth Choice Award for the best new directors in this category. Today, we discuss the Brazilian film Circo. This film touches the themes of dreams and aspirations, family, belonging, identity, and transformation, the chosen family and the queer community, spiritually resilience, the struggles of marginalized communities, and the pursuit of hope and survival. Hi, Lamia. Thank you for being with us here today. Thank you for sending in your film and giving us the possibility to screen it. We loved it, and I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, about your film, and how it all came together for you.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me and having my film in your beautiful festival. I really wish I could be in Vancouver with you. Unfortunately, I'm in Europe right now. So I live usually in Montreal. I am originally from Morocco, and I am an immigrant. I migrated to Canada 11 years ago, to Montreal precisely. And Circo started 9 years ago. It's a long time. It's a very long process. It's my first feature film, and so my sister used to live in Brazil, in Rio, and I used to travel a lot to Brazil to visit her. And I also studied social science and specialized in Latin America. So it all started when a friend of mine told me about the social circus Crescer Reviver in Rio de Janeiro, which is a social circus helping children and young people who live in the favelas, who are often involved in narco traffic or sex work to get self-esteem through the art of circus. And I was personally very interested in social art in general. And I went to visit this circus out of curiosity. And the first thing that really not shocked me, but made me find it very interesting is the location of this circus, which was really at the border between favelas and an area which was in a process of gentrification. And when I got there, like I felt that it was the only space where the dream was allowed for the youth there. And when I got there, I found that there was a story behind each child who was there. And the protagonist of the film, whose name is Richard in the film today, is Ashila. She made her transition and her pronouns are she. So at that time, she was a teacher and she was involved in transmission of what she learned when she started being in this circus as a student. And so I started, I stayed there for almost 3 months, just in a scouting, like getting to know her and to know the realities of the children in this circus. And during my time, Bolsonaro got elected. So every parts of her complex identity was directly threatened by the government, and so that's when I had the idea of I actually felt that it was urgent for me to make this film.
Thank you, Lamia, for introducing yourself. I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about what are the main challenges that you went through when you created the whole universe of Circo.
It's a difficult question. There were a lot of challenges actually. It's a 7 years project, 5 years of shooting. So there were some funding challenges. It was hard at the start to get fundings because I was in a immigration process, and so I couldn't get fundings at the beginning of the process. And the pandemics also was like hit in the middle of the project, and I had it in mind of following someone for a very long time because I was really interested in the moment of coming of age and the moment when the dreams are like the border between the dreams and the moment they get realized is very blurry, but specifically in people in marginalized situation. So I couldn't stop filming because of the pandemics. I had to keep going. So that was quite of a challenge. And then other challenges were that it's a very intimate story in a family that has a lot of complex situations. So some of the characters of the film stopped talking to each other in the middle of the shooting, and that was also something quite complicated. And then there are so many other things. There are also ethics subject, a lot of things that were um, challenges in this project. Also filming in a favela where the narco traffics are in charge of the place, and we had to negotiate with each shooting with the narco trafficant to get access to the places was also a challenge. It's hard to summarize 5 years of a project, but I think these are the main challenges.
Thank you, Lamia. Up next, we're gonna start with the questions from our youth jury. Isa's gonna go next.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I felt really connected to the film and to Richard's story. I'm from Brazil, and I come from the favelas as well, but in São Paulo. So I understand and I see like how's the reality there, and I appreciate um the film showing um like the social project of the circle, because that was also something that made me really connected, like coming from that background. And sometimes we only see like narco traffic and all the bad things that happen, but there's a lot of people that are there to like help the community and try to like guide them in a different path. uh and I know there's a like lot of different stories in the favelas and from the people, and I'm curious on what draw you to Richard stories. Like, what was like, because I'm sure you met like a lot of different people with different stories when you visit the project. Yeah, and I think I'm curious, like, what made you think, like, yeah, I'm making this film with this person following this life. Yeah.
It's a very good question, and thank you for sharing also your background. And I'm very glad that you felt connected to their story. Um, to be very honest with this film, at the beginning I was thinking doing more of a project about the social circus with different protagonists, and I felt that Ashila, who was Richard at the time, really wanted her story to be told. So I felt that it was more in this sense that I was connected to her. I'm gonna do it. Um, I I um, I felt that like from her side there was a very big willing to share her story, and I felt very touched by the way she really wanted to shine, and it was like hard at that moment of becoming an adult to feel like the that the dreams are like you don't stop dreaming even with the challenges. And also like I'm also someone with like multiple identities and intersectionality. So I felt that some of the challenges she was going through connect with some of mine as well. And then gradually she invited me to her family, and I met Zeze, her adopted mom and adoptive mom. And I also felt very welcomed and connected to her and the dynamic of her family. There were a lot of things that reminded some of dynamics in my own family. So we connected really quickly. And actually, even the language was not a barrier, even if I didn't speak Portuguese at the time. I spoke Spanish and French, but not Portuguese. And I learned the language with her and with her community. And so I felt that the human connection was very, very strong. And that's how we started.
Thank you, Lamia. Thank you, Isa. Up next, we have Reni.
Hola, Lamia. Salut, Lamia. I have kind of like two questions that are also like very similar. Um, the question is like, how did the documentary's idea got shaped? Like, what happened in like Shila's life, and also like, how do you manage like that change that happened, and why do you choose to leave out like the context of the circus? Because like now that you introduced to us in the introduction about like the circus and what it was like about and the type of people that were in the circus. I I don't know if I missed it in the movie, but like I don't remember it being explicitly said. So I'm also like curious why you didn't mention it.
Can you repeat your first question, please?
Yeah, the first question is like how did, because in the documentary, like the we only see like fractions of the life of the characters. And my question is like how did what happened in their lives got shape the original idea that you had for the documentary?
Mm-hmm. So as I mentioned, it's really like the connection I had with her that made me feel that the like to reach something very universal for me. There's nothing stronger than the intimate. And when I had access to that, and she wanted to share with me her her personal life and was okay to do it in such a long period of time. And then when I discovered like all the challenges her sister has as well, all the complexity of her situation, and then in this third shoot when Zizi asked her to leave her house, and all her life started to get more and more complicated, and it's kind of shaped more and more as a identity quest than only a story about an institution, social circus. I felt that her story was much more powerful to express the complexity of the situation in Brazil during that time than following different person.
Thank you, Lamia. Thank you, Reni. Up next, we have Alfredo.
Hola. Let me start by saying that I love your movie and I loved how cinematic everything looked. It's I feel like sometimes a documentary is like things happen and you kind of just have to like work around like getting them, and sometimes that maybe compromises style or like just making it look cinematic or whatever. But I think I don't know if it's because of the city or just like areas where you were shooting were very cinematic themselves, but I think all of it looks beautiful. And I liked it a lot.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
making it. Uh, my question is, I hear from what you say now that you shot for 5 years or something like that. Um, so what was the situation? It's kind of like a weird question, but what happened that you were like, we're done filming now. It's time to move to post production? Because I'm thinking if you're starting and you're like, okay, we're gonna shoot for a year, and that seems like a normal thing, maybe like a year, but then two, three, and then five. Like, why stop at five, right? That's my
Mhm.
question.
Very good question. Um, I didn't know actually it would last 5 years. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have the courage to do it from the start. But so it was a very specific way of editing this project. I had the chance to have an amazing editor whose name is René Roberge, who came on board very early in the process. So during those 5 years, I was still living in Montreal, but I traveled 3 months every year to Brazil to shoot and came back to Montreal each time. So every time I came back, I watched all the rushes, the footage with the editor, and we discussed and we did some edits with what we had to go forward. So that really helped me. Also focusing on on the direction of the film and um, the last shooting a lot of things happened. It's the moment when Ashila did her started her transition, and also when she discovered the religion, the Afro-Brazilian religion where she is now. So like a lot of things happened during that shooting, and when I came back, I felt that the story was built, and also I wanted to have some part of the film that is co-created with her, where she can express her dreams through her art, which is circus, the circus. So during that last shoot, we also did some scenes which are oniric scenes of dreams, which were totally um, written to the contrary to the rest of the project, which was totally documentary. And so I felt that this was kind of a wrap of the project. And also the after Ashila and her sister got far apart from a long time. When they went back together, I felt that the relationship with her sister was so strong, and it was also a beautiful end of the film. So it's complicated when it's a quest of identity. It's like, and especially when it's so complex, it can go forever. But I felt that this was a beautiful end to it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lamia. Thank you, Alfredo. Up next, we have Dana.
You're
Okay, part two. Hola, Lamia, I'm Dana.
Hola.
We've heard Marcel talk a little bit about this, but I wanted to hear about how you approached the process of filming as foreigners to this community, as coming from the outside, how you approached the ethicality of being in these very intimate spaces, and also hearing these stories. Like from the beginning, we're confronted with topics of HIV, drugs, sex work. So I wanted to know where you drew the line, if there was a line, of like the stories that you were able to hear, and even how this changed during the process of filming or during the process of editing. So just in general, the ethics of approaching this documentary as outsiders from the community.
It's a very good question, very important question. Um, so I first of all, in the team, so we're a very small team, only director of photography, me, and a sound recordist. And the sound recordist is also a person from the favela who is also Afro-descendant and queer. And so it was very important for me to have someone super close to me who is part of the community. And also during the process, every time new things happen in Ashila's identity, I had anthropologists on board to help me navigate through this. So someone specialized on Candomblé and Umbanda, which are the Afro-descendant religions, and also like a person who is trans who also helped me understanding like from very close everything that was going through that Ashila was going through, and watching the footage as well and different edits of the film. And but obviously there is a power dynamic that is there, and we have to be like aware of it. And I'm totally aware of it, and I've learned a lot during this process. I think I started being very naive, thinking that it would be something easy, and the more and more I was like in the project, the more and more challenges came, with especially the fact that there are people who come from a very a background which is not the same social I'm not sure to say in English, but the same social class, if I can say like that. And this came with a lot of challenges, and I've learned a lot during this process. For example, that I think it's super important to have psychologists with us in shootings like that, and that's like the thing that I would like to have for my next project. I've already talked to my producer that it's something that is super important during the shooting, but also during the screenings when the people watch themselves talking about some traumatic events, to have psychologists to help when it's with people who have stress post-traumatic and like traumas and things like that. So for sure there were like things that I managed to do during the shoot and adapt to this very complex situation, but also there are a lot of lessons that I've learned for my next projects. And I think that it's important for people who are not from a community, even if I'm North African, I'm also queer, I'm not like I don't have exactly the same identity as them, so it's very important to make sure everyone is in a safe space all the time.
Gracias, Lamia.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Lamia. Up next, we have Isa. Yes, Isa.
Hi. In the film, you also show a little bit of Candomblé and like a very beautiful ritual. And I think I want to know how was for you, like being there in the ritual, which is such like a sacred and intimate space as well. How was filming the Candomblé ritual, and how were you received there, and what were like the challenges of like being in such a powerful ritual, but also like how to film it in a respectful way, but also like, yeah, I think showing it in a respectful way, but also honoring your process in making the movie. I think that that also like extends a little bit into the like the editing and the post as well, like how you chose what would go in the film, or if you had like they also like commenting on it. Yeah, it's not a really clear question, but
No, it is. Yes, it's a very, very powerful, powerful spirituality and powerful place, and it's so yeah, a lot of things. First of all, so it went through Ashila, who asked like the community if we could come and film, and the first reaction was, yes, it's obviously if they're here, it's because they have to be here. Like, it's going through your process. So there was like no negotiation. It was like directly, of course, they can come as long as they participate in the fees of the ceremony, then they can come. So I went to several ceremonies before filming one. And again, the sound record is also part of Candomblé. And so she also helped me a lot understanding about all the spirituality and everything. And so while being there, of course, the energy was like very, very powerful, and we were two cameras. And so people were in trance and everything. So it was also like always a very important line to keep in mind, not to go in their bubble, in their own space, but at the same time being as much in the reality as possible, like not romanticize it or make it I don't know, fictional, like make it very, very raw, if I can say like that. And this question was during the whole editing as well. That's why it's quite a long scene, because we didn't want to cut too much and go through the process and make it look different than the actual process. And the anthropologist specialized on Candomblé really helped me during the whole process. And she was like looking at, even if one shot was 1 second longer, she would be, no, that's not respectful, or you know what I mean? Everything was super analyzed. And obviously we showed it to the community before screening it. Yeah, I hope this answered your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lamia, for letting us into your wonderful process. Up next, we have, I think Solène hasn't had her question yet, and then we're gonna circle back.
Hello, Lamia. I also come from Montreal. I lived there like 6 years earlier, and I never really got to like meet like the film community there. And I was interested in like the process of like bringing in your experiences as a filmmaker from Montreal and going to Brazil, and also like your decision in choosing a cinematographer from Montreal as opposed to somebody from Brazil, or like fully like crafting a crew from the actual space where you were filming at, and how like those like contrasting communities in terms of filmmaking might have like developed like a new set of skills for future projects. Um, because like 5 years is such a long time, and like you pick up on different things, and your work is always, it feels like it's based on like a very, very intimate um experience with the people that you work with. So I just wanted to see the things that you've learned all along the way, and how you would approach like your next project, if it's like in Montreal again or in a different space. But thank you, yeah.
Thank you for the question. So first, the first shooting was with another director of photography who was from Ecuador, actually, who was working on my first film. And it was more a challenge of funding, to be honest. That for the fundings in Canada, you have to have a certain amount, because it's not a co-production with Brazil. So we had to have a certain amount of people in the crew who are from Canada, otherwise you're not eligible to have the fundings. So that's the reason. Like 2 people out of 3 were from Canada, which is not ideal. Because obviously I would love to, like, prefer to have a team which is closer to who is from the place where I'm filming. But all the shots, because in the film you only see at the very end one scene in the circus where representing her dream, but this is actually a very big project that we filmed, like a whole several scenes of Ashila's dream that she screenwritten, and for this the entire crew was from Brazil. But for the whole, like, process, it was unfortunately not possible for me to do that. And for my next films, I'm planning to do it in foreign countries as well. And I'm planning to do co-production to be able to have crews from the place where I'm going to be filming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Solène. Thank you, Lamia. We're back with Rally now.
Thank you. I was wondering about how do you manage the language barrier, and also what was your directorial approach to the film?
What can you, like, tell me more about your question, second question, the territorial
Yeah,
approach?
so first, language barrier, you being from Morocco and speaking French, and you filming in Brazil, like obviously there is a big language barrier. And I was wondering how you managed the barrier, and also what was your approach as a director to the movie, and how did you direct, if you like gave any like special instructions to the characters, or how do you manage that? Because the feeling I got was more like you were kind of like spectators of what was happening. And I was wondering just like, how was your inside as a director?
Okay. For the language, I've learned Portuguese. So like during the scouting, there was a barrier language, and I was, like, learning it and asking my sister to help me during the scouting, and then I learned Portuguese, so there was no barrier anymore after that. And your second question, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand what you meant.
Yeah, like what how was your work as a director? Like, did you give special instructions or like actions to the characters, or was it more like how do you
Okay,
plan?
I think I understood. So like, specifically because of what we said before about me not being from that community, I didn't want to have too much intervention in the way of directing, and it was very important for me to use direct cinema as a way to have the reality materializing through the film, but through Ashila's perspective, and not having a voiceover or like anything that would make me too much interventionist. So the whole film is direct cinema, apart from that last scene. And I tried sometimes to, like, do some sort of mise en scène and, like, really influence her on things to do, and it never really worked, because for me the direct cinema is always more powerful, like when the reality comes through, like in front of your lens. It's almost always more magic for me. So for me to be able to have an hour and a half of film with a lot of observational approach. We filmed a lot, so it was a lot of footage, and it was a lot of patience. Sometimes we would go and stay for a whole day and not shoot anything, just to make sure, like, when something happens, it happens for real, and we don't make it happen. But then sometimes, obviously, like if she has something planned, then we would organize it to happen in the moment we are there to film. But my approach was really to have it the most natural possible, the most close to reality as possible.
Thank you, Lamia. Up next, I'm going to go with Marcela because she hasn't had her question yet, and then we'll go back to Dana.
Hola, thank you so much for all of the telling us about your process. It's so interesting, all of the challenges and everything. Now I am very curious because you mentioned about having a psychologist also for after watching the film. So I'm super curious about how this community received the film and how was the process after it was shot, showing it to them and the reactions and yeah, I was wondering how was that dialogue after this such a big process.
So Ashila and Natasha really wanted to watch the film in a cinema for the first time with the public, because they've almost never been in the cinema before, and for them it was a very big moment that they wanted to have, in a celebrating moment. So and they had a lot of trust, and they didn't want to watch different edits. So I really insisted, because for me it was important not to do that. So I showed some edits, but not like the final one. And unfortunately, the film was not selected in Brazil before Montreal. Like the premiere was in Montreal in RIDM. So I decided to go to Brazil and organize a private screening before to be able to show them first. So it was very intimate. It was like super intimate. Only some people of the crew and the family. We were 10 people, and it was very, very, very emotional. Like during the whole hour and a half, we were holding hands and crying. I think it was harder for Natasha because when she watched the film, like almost 2 years passed, and she was all in a very much better situation. Like now she has a husband, she has a new child, she is a much stable situation, and she's doing well. But watching herself in that difficult period was hard for her. For Ashila, it was, I think, very emotional to see like these 5 years, how like all her life evolved. But I think less difficult than for Natasha. But then both of them said like that they were very, very, very happy with the result, and that they're happy that they gave like their trust to me. And after that, the film was selected in a festival in Brazil. And I was at the same time showing it in Canada. So Ashila went to, it was in Goiás, outside of Rio, and she went there and showed the film. So for me, it was super like powerful that she took the film and shared it and showed it. And the film won an award. So for her, it was a very big moment. And it was a queer festival as well. So it was great to share this with the community.
Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcela. Thank you, Lamia. Up next, we have Cristina Erdoiza.
Hi, Lamia. It's an honor to meet you. I wanted to know a little bit more about the contrast of the body exposed that we have on the rituals, that it shows us something sacred, something powerful, versus this image of the body and the harsh realities of the characters or the person living in the favelas or that come of marginalized community. Did you intentionally wanted to explore the tension between these two areas that happen on the same space, or did it come more organically while you were filming?
Oh, it's a very good question. I think it's the first time I have this question. It came really organically. I never really thought of that this way. I think that obviously the body, like in general, like I'm always very interested in how bodies interact in different spaces, in different territories, and I think bodies are political and everything is so. But I didn't actually intellectualize it while filming. I think it's naturally. I was obviously filming an athlete and going through a process in her body. So obviously, I think it's something that came naturally, and yeah, I never really during the process I didn't like intellectualize it, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cristina. Thank you, Lamia. Now we're back to Dana.
Yes, so, hey again. Hearing you talk about how all of this experiences changed you and how they like transformed your process of filmmaking and even transformed you, I wanted you to talk a little bit more about that, like how hearing all these stories and even the ones that we might not have seen on screen changed you as a person and how that's gonna like alter your process in filmmaking in the future. And also like how you wanted the audience to be transformed to looking at the stories, or if you wanted to just not be in control of that and let the audience feel whatever they felt through these voices.
Let me think. I have an answer. Yes, I think that obviously 5 years is a long time, and the level of connection that I got with her I think is unique, and I don't even know if I will make another film like that ever, to be honest, because I think it's well, first it's a very big responsibility as a filmmaker, and also a strong relationship, like a strong friendship that you build, and I don't even know if it's something that I'll be able to do again, and if I want to do it again. I think it's yes, it's changed me in all the well. It's my first film, so obviously it's something that is very impactful. So just having finishing it and being able to show it and feel that we grew together through this. And your second question was, can you...
Oh, if you expected it to transform the audience as well in some way.
Yeah. Also, I know that in this film, I also give a lot to the audience, a lot of space actually to the audience for interpretation and not I don't like I don't give too many answers, and I think it's also part of my process, because while making this film, I searched a lot while making it, and I feel that the audience is also something that, for me, even if the film shows very difficult subject and difficult things, it's important for me that there is light at the end of the film, and that the audience doesn't leave the cinema with like a very I don't know, very deep thing. But also I didn't want to give too much to the audience, to leave them get their interpretation, and yeah, and have more freedom. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lamia and Dana. Up next, we have Gregor.
Good morning, Lamia.
Hello.
Congratulations on your first film, by the way. I wanted to ask about a particular scene from the film, and I think you mentioned direct cinema earlier before, but there was a scene in which your protagonist, they get not lectured, but it's a scene with a friend of theirs. I believe their name was Pablo, and I wrote it in my notes as a lecture, because they were speaking about not wasting time, and almost telling Sheila to, if you wanted to be ashamed of something, it would be about doing nothing. And it's words that really they stick around. And so I wanted to ask about your approach to directing that scene, like how, if it was organic or recited earlier. I don't know how do you well, I just wanted to know, how did you come to film and get those words out of your of your subjects, because it came out, well, to me it came out very natural and very strong, very well, it was a very good scene. I wanted to ask about that particular scene.
Yes. So it's Vinicius. That's what the scene you're talking about, his coach, right? Yes. Yeah. So Vinicius is the director of the circus, and also her coach. And and Vinicius was also kind of a paternal figure. Do we say that in English? Like a figure paternal? I'm not sure if we say that. Yeah. For Ashila, and for like very long time, he really believed in Ashila's dream, and he really believed that Ashila could go to Cirque du Soleil and to be like a very, very international artist. And he got very disappointed when it didn't happen. And I remember actually the first thing that Vinicius told me when I visited for the first time the circus. He told me, our mission is not to train students to become artists, but to help young people to get the tools to be able to make their own choices. And he was so disappointed that Ashila's dream were just falling apart and not happening, when he was seeing so much potential and talent in her. And this scene was, I think they didn't see each other for almost two years, 1.5 years, something like that. And I provoked the scene in the sense that I said to Ashila, it would be great for you to see again Vinicius, and like to catch up, and because I was also seeing her dream falling apart, and I was also like worried for her, and being like trying to help her at the same time. And then she was like, yeah, I'll go and see Vinicius, and we'll catch up. and we filmed it, and that's it. But like everything was real. Like Vinicius was generally really, really disappointed and generally trying to make her realize the yeah, the sadness for him not to see her realize her dream. So nothing was planned before. It was totally real. Yeah.
Thank you, Gregor. Thank you, Lamia. Up next, we have Carlette.
Hi, congratulations on your first film, Dex. I really enjoy it. I was just wondering, given that you worked on this project for 5 years and you were coming back, you were going to Montreal and then back to Brazil. During that period of time that you were in Montreal, were you still in touch with Richard? Did you maintain a friendship? Were you like updated, or as a filmmaker, you decided to kind of take a step back and like not being contacted as much when you were here? Oh, and my other question, sorry. How did you pitch your film, given that it's in Brazil, for Canada funds? I'm kind of a little confused over how you did it, or was it just because because you were now Canadian and you had like 2/3 of Canadian creators in your project?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, I stayed in touch during the whole time. Yeah, we were in touch like a lot, and especially like during the difficult times she had. Like we stayed in touch with her and with Natasha as well. With Zeze, it was more complicated because she decided to stop seeing Ashila and decided to stop being in the film as well. So with her, we stopped the contact, unfortunately. But yes, we were all the time in contact. And your second question, I got my permanent residency after 3 years of shooting, something like that. So at the beginning, I had a crowdfunding, and I started with the crowdfunding. And then I got my permanent residency, so I had development money, and I started shooting with the development money because the pandemic hit, and it took me a lot of time to be able to go back with the production money. And so that's why it's all Canadian funds, and mentioned that we had to have a Canadian team.
Thank you, Lamia. I think we have a question from youth jury that is having trouble raising her hand. Kendra, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, so my question is, what inspired to make you this film? And I also wanted to know if Richard is still like working like in a circus, like if he kept his passion to keep doing that, or if he just like quit and is doing something else now. Thank you.
Thank you. Your first question, what inspired me, like in general, or
Yeah, what in general like inspired you to make this film?
there was not like one specific film that inspired me or one specific book. It's always like all the film I make, even my short films, it always starts with a human connection. So the only thing that inspired me is Ashila's energy and her life and the connection, which doesn't have any explanation in particular. And And your second question, I'm sorry, it's quite late for me because I'm in Europe.
No,
Your
it's
second.
okay. I was just wondering if Richard kept working at a
Oh, yes.
circus.
Yes. So for a long time she stopped. She stopped for like 1 year after we finished the shooting. During the whole editing, she was not training anymore, and then she came back um, a year ago, and she's working now for a circus that is not sure to say in English, moving around Brazil, going through different places. So she's working hard, and she's also like now presenting the film in different places. But yeah, I'm very happy for her that she's back to circus. She doesn't have the international career she was dreaming of, but at least she's following her dream, and so yeah, I'm happy for her.
Thank you, Lamia. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I think that's all for us for the time we have today. Thank you, Lamia, for joining us in when it's so late in Europe and sharing with us your process. And I know it's probably very late. So thank you so much for being here, for your compromise, and for sending in your film. Yesterday we had an amazing time also having Marcel on the panel. We're very excited to have the project in the new directors category, and we hope to see more of your films.
Thank you so much for the invitation and for your very interesting questions and this beautiful conversation.
Thank you, Lamia. Thank you, Youth Jury, for being here today. See you later at the Cinematheque.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.